Oh,
Give
there we
it two
go.
seconds.
Wait, hang
Should
on.
come
We're
up
good.
for you.
Going live. Dude, this is a long delay. Okay, we're good. We are live now, I think. All right, starting now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the High Point Fantasy Show. We have two amazing guests here tonight. We have Jay Tuck and Troy King, two of our best and brightest over there at the High Point Creator Network. And we will be having Mr. X, Mr. 88 himself, Des Bryant, in the building here shortly. But before we get started, I mean, with the Des, that is, we were just talking, before the show got started. We just figured we would, we were chopping it up and just start the show a little bit early. J Tuck, shout out to your Dallas hat, by the way. This is a thing I've learned about and working with Personal Corner. Kevin, who's a part of the Personal Corner team, also pointed out to me. Apparently, it's like a Dallas thing that like everybody
Yeah.
kind of has that hat. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, man. So salute to True Brand. It's pretty much become the signature when it comes to the city of Dallas. And, I think what started is in 2020 during the pandemic, they kind of created these hats. And I think Ben DiNucci, who was our quarterback at the time, was part of it. And then all of a sudden, Dak Prescott put the hat on and everything just kind of caught fire. And it's like the signature hat of Dallas. And so, you have the Cowboys version, you have the Rangers version, the Mavericks version. So, I mean, when you walk into the city of Dallas, you see this hat, you pretty much know what it is. Now, I live in Kansas City, so when I wear this hat, everyone's like, Salad, Dallas, why is everything upside down? So I always have to answer the question. I remember I wore this hat when I was in Dubai, and it was just like, I'm tired of answering the question. Like, I need like a shirt that kind of explains it. But, it's just a Dallas thing. So every time you see it, man, you just know what it is. And if I see you with this hat on the airport or something, I already know you're a Cowboys fan. This is a quick head nod, throw up the X, and let's keep things rocking, man. So, yeah. Yeah.
What's up, Troy? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing excellent, Luke, man. I'm glad I get to, rock with you guys, man. Look, that was a cool story about Dallas, man. I wish I had a cool story. As you can see, I'm a Dolphins fan, so I can't relate, but we got our own thing going on. I'm a Florida boy, so we represent too.
I'm trying to think now. Like, I'm from Cincinnati, but I'm a Steelers fan. I'm trying to think of one for either that is like if you see somebody with something or like, there's a thing. I think for Cincinnati, I mean, it's kind of a national thing though, but like everyone knows Skyline Chili. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Man, that's about it. Like Pittsburgh, I don't really even know, bro. Like I'm not from
Terrible
Pittsburgh,
towels.
You know, I'm a Steelers fan. It's terrible
Yeah,
towels, but I
right.
feel like everyone knows those. No, you know what I mean? Like the Dallas hats, like those are sick, and like everyone knows it. Like
Right.
I think that's pretty cool. I like
Yeah.
those. I like
They're
those a lot.
big.
Hey, Detroit, give me a little bit of a setup tour behind you. What you got in the background right there? Like, that's
Oh
art,
man, okay. So I got my flag, right? And then
right?
towards the back, you see a frame. It's a frame of like old like pictures and tickets and stuff from like Dolphins games. Like my wife got that
Nice.
for me. And also I got a little anime stuff back here, some Marvel stuff. I'm a big nerd,
Hey,
so
what's your favorite nerd stuff? Let's get into it.
my nerd stuff. Look, for the OGs, I'm rocking some Dragon
The
Ball
little
Z
Goku.
shirt, so for
Little
a
Goku.
little OG. But I would say, like, man, I want to get off on a tangent, man. I just like anime, Marvel, stuff like that,
Love that.
as
Love
well
that.
as NFL football, of course.
Of course. That's why we're here, man. That's why we're here. We're talking here to talk some football, here to talk some fantasy. We're gonna wait for Des to jump in here before we get into the meat and potatoes of it. But while we're getting into that real quick, let's give a brief overview of what this show is for everyone watching out there. This is a new weekly show we're gonna have every Monday night with myself, Des, and then we're gonna have some guests from the High Point Creator Network here, and we're probably gonna get some nice NFL media heads in here as well. Maybe some more fantasy industry kind of people in here too. Got a lot of people we want to talk to, a lot of shows. We're gonna have some great shows here to kind of give you guys some nice content. As we talked a little bit about behind closed doors, we've been kind of putting everything into one show. Having these conversations with these athletes and talking about fantasy and the NFL all on one show. And now we're spreading those two things out into two different things. We're still keeping the huddle, the High Point huddle, the huddle on Fridays now with Dez and the athletes. And then on Mondays, we're going to come over here and talk fantasy and talk NFL. So those conversations with the athletes are going to be a lot more focused now, talking about these athletes and their careers rather than just everything, across the entire board. So I think those conversations are going to be even better than they were before. And this is going to be a whole new thing we're going to have on a really consistent basis for you guys every single week, talking about all the happenings in the NFL and everything and anything fantasy football with some great guests. Quick shout out to these guys again, man. Like I mentioned earlier, the High Point Creator Network is something that I'm really proud to be a part of. It's a really dope community with the 32 different creators to come together and talk football, talk shop, and collab and work together. And these guys are killing it, man. They're doing amazing stuff. They're a little bigger analysts than we initially expected to join the program, if I'm being honest. But more than happy to
Uh,
have these guys here, man. They're the best. So shout out to you guys. Appreciate you.
Nah, at the end of the day, man, we're all the same, man. We're all the same. We all just have a passion for our team and NFL football and covering it. Some of us just started early. I don't do anything different. I just started maybe a little earlier than some people who's in the high point. But at the end of the day, I love it, man. When Luke mentioned it, I reached out to Luke like, hey, bro, can I be a part of it, please? And so, man, I'm excited. I think it's going to be extremely beneficial and rewarding just for the NFL community because there's so many people. I always call it new media that, the people who really love their team, who eat, sleep, breathe their team, not to knock down anybody else, but man, like they know all things going on with their team. If I want to find out about the Dolphins, who we got coming up on Christmas, I'm going to follow Troy to find out what's going on, the ins and outs of the team. That's just how the power of social media has evolved things thus far.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more, man. Look, I love being part of the network, like you said, man. I talked to Luke. I saw my dogs, join the network, and I'm like, yo, you guys are making something special. Just want to be a part of it. Obviously, look, everything that Des got going on with Personal Corner, High Point Sports, man, it's game changing. And I just want to be
Mhm.
along for the ride, and it's just special. And I'm just honored to be part of the team.
Just getting started, man. Just getting started. So many things cooking, so many things in the works behind the scenes. A lot of things that you guys have seen that the general public hasn't even seen yet. So,
Mhm.
stay tuned for that, guys. Got a lot of stuff cooking. But let's jump into here things here a little bit. Go into some of the biggest stories of the week here. We got the biggest news in fantasy. Calvin Ridley is back from the dead, bro. 7 catches for 103 yards and 2 tutties. J Tuck, talk a little bit about his performance.
Yeah, it was refreshing to see. Now, majority of the people in my fantasy league and people I saw on Twitter had him on the bench, right, due to his previous performances. So,
Fair,
that
fair.
performance he had really didn't count from a fantasy standpoint. But, I think a lot of people had high expectations for really coming off of the suspension in this Jaguars offense. And you've seen some of the big games that he's had, but then you'll see a 5-yard game and a 30-yard game quickly follow. So I think what people are really wanting is to see him put those consistent games together as the wide receiver one in Jacksonville. And man, on Sunday, he was on a complete tear. That is the guy that we saw and knew coming from Atlanta that we expected to see this season. So, I know in this Doug Peterson offense, they're going to try to get him involved a little bit more, especially with Trey Lawrence. We're talking about Trey Lawrence, right? A
Right, shout out
little
to Trey
bit more.
Lance.
Yeah, you're talking about Trey Lance, you know what I'm saying? With the head shaving. But with Trey Lawrence, I'm trying to get him involved a little bit more. So I expect to see an uptick when it comes to Calvin Ridley, but you got to be excited about what you saw on Sunday.
Yeah, that's the thing that's been so weird with him is, like he had such high expectations coming into the fantasy season. He was drafted in about the third round. A lot of people were really excited about him. He went out week one, went crazy. Everyone was like, yes, he's a top
Right,
five wide receiver. Let's go. And then he just completely shit the bed like the rest of the season so far, leading up to
right.
this past week. So, like you mentioned, shout out to him. I mean, like you mentioned with Lawrence, too. This is what you kind of been waiting to see for Trevor Lawrence. Like he's
Mm-hmm.
been playing well this year, but he hasn't really taken that leap that people were hoping for fantasy. Troy, what are
Right.
your thoughts on Lawrence as a fantasy quarterback moving forward? Where do you kind of rank him?
I think he's a low end QB1 still. I feel like he has his upside, but I feel like he has very mediocre games, right? Especially when there's a Travis Etienne game, he gets the goal line work. And obviously that takes away fantasy points from Trevor Lawrence. So Travis Etienne didn't have the game that he usually does, but I'm expecting to see more Travis Etienne games. Obviously, he'll get some dump off passes, things like that. But I think that hurts Trevor Lawrence. Again, he's not a bad fantasy QB, but I think there's other ones with more upside, especially I do like when Trevor Lawrence uses his legs more. We did see some rushing touchdowns. So I feel like if he can continue to do that, we can see more of that consistent upside. But I don't know how often we're going to see him, scoring rushing touchdowns. I think that's more of a Travis Etienne thing. But overall, I think he's a low end QB1, but he has obviously, top 5 upside when he has games like he did on Sunday.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with what you said actually about him using his legs more. I think the thing that we see Trevor Lawrence do the best is get outside of the pocket, right? I think he plays really well when he's like moving around, not just standing there in the pocket flat footed. And the thing that's been really weird with him this year is I honestly feel like he's been playing better in real life than we kind of give him credit for in the fantasy community, just because ETN's been getting all those touchdowns. You know what I mean? Like he just
Mm-hmm.
hasn't really had the passing touchdowns to back up the way he's been playing. I think if he's been able to get those passing touchdown numbers up, then we might be looking at him as taking that leap as we all kind of hope for, right? And I think that's something we really, need to monitor moving forward and watching that growth. And is it really just the passing touchdowns, or is it the way he's playing? So, shout out to them in Jacksonville though. They have a good team this year. I think they're definitely going to make the playoffs. They're probably a lock to win that division. Oh, actually, no. Houston's coming on
Yeah,
strong.
Houston.
So
Yeah.
we're actually going into our next point pretty smooth here. Actually, Tank Dell had a monster game again.
Mhm.
Same with Stroud. Threw a couple picks, but Stroud had another huge game. Tank Dell, though, 8 catches for 149 yards and a touchdown. I mean, is this guy – I mean, I think if CJ Stroud wasn't doing what he's doing, this guy could be a sleeper for offensive rookie of the year. Like, he's having a legit season. J-Tuck, what do you think about his, longevity at his size? They don't really have an elite wide out there right now, except for maybe Tank Dell. He's pretty
Mhm.
small. Do we think that long-term Tank is the guy there, or do you think that he will ultimately be relegated to a wide receiver 2 role?
Man, absolutely. I love Nathaniel Tank Dell at the University of Houston. And Luke, I know you were here in Kansas City at the draft. And man, I was beating the desk for this kid. I wanted him selfishly in Dallas. But when you watched him in Houston, like he was always just getting open. Like he was just a separation guy, clean with his routes, precision burst. It was all there. And he's turning into the safety blanket already for CJ Stroud. So I think the relationship will already remain intact. And if you look at the games where he's getting, high volume targets, he's producing at a very high level. So I think that's going to continue. Now, of course, they got some other wide receivers there. They got some ex-Cowboys players there in Houston. But I think if you think about the future of the Houston Texans offense, it's going to be CJ Stroud and Tank Dell. And they'll probably add someone in the future. But as of right now, man, he is on a tear. But honestly, I can't say I'm surprised because I love this kid coming out of Houston in the draft.
Yeah, real quick before we pass it over to Troy here and his thoughts on Tank Dell, talk a little bit about Noah Brown. Are you kind of surprised at his emergence, or what do you think about that?
Noah Brown is just rubbing in the face of all Cowboys fans. That's what he's really doing. He's showing out. He got him a new house, got him a new thing. He's want to show out. But, honestly, we always like Noah Brown, but Noah Brown is what I call a jack. He was kind of just a guy in our offense, but he's always going to do his job, right? He's going to block. If the ball comes his way, he was going to make a play, right? So you saw glimpses of it, but a lot of people talked about those Dak Prescott interceptions, and some of those were bouncing off of Noah Brown's hands. I mean, speaking of Jacksonville, right? That game last year, Dak Prescott hit Noah Brown right in the chest, and it pops up for interception. So a lot of people didn't expect Noah Brown to ever be a high production guy, more of a guy that's when his name is called, he'll make a play here and there. But man, him and Dalton Schultz, they're both acting real brand new out there in Houston because, I mean, they're putting up massive numbers. And, honestly, it's catching me off guard from the Noah Brown perspective, not Dalton Schultz, because Dalton Schultz was a high volume guy in Dallas. But
yeah, I was gonna say Schultz was a baller for you guys.
Schultz was a baller, and honestly, initially I felt like the Cowboys' offense missed them, but with the emergence of Jake Ferguson, I think they're starting to settle a little bit more. But he was Dak's safety blanket. Like Dak loved Dalton Schultz because he's not the most elusive athlete. He's going to be a guy that can find himself in the zone, sit there, make the catch. He's not going to break and run from you. He's not going to be what we're going to see tonight in Travis Kelce, but he's always where he needs to be. And I think that's really helping CJ Stroud. But Noah Brown, I don't know. Noah Brown must have been watching all of our tweets online and, doing push-ups this offseason. But man, he's on a tear as well. Because you look in the stat sheet, I'm like, is this the same Noah? So, if we kind of knew this was in Noah Brown, maybe he would have still been in Dallas. But salute to Noah Brown and Dalton Schultz. They're out to a tremendous start there in Houston.
Yeah, absolutely. Troy, what are your thoughts on Tank Dell's start to his career here? And do you think long-term he can maintain this level of production?
Man, I mean, what he's doing, I mean, he was a preseason star. There's a lot of people that were doubting him because of his size. And that just goes to show you, man, you don't have to fit a specific stereotype in order to ball out. His route running. His route running is really what is key to me. And he just knows what to do. He always is open. So, yeah, I think it's going to be consistent. I think in the future they're going to add somebody to complement, Tank Dell. I think he could still be the wide receiver one if he just keeps doing what he's doing. But I'm very impressed. I don't think anyone expected of it. But I think also it's a lot goes to CJ Stroud as being the kingmaker as well.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think that's honestly really interesting to me is, it came out on draft night or day 2, whenever Tank Dell got selected, that Stroud asked the Texans to take it. I thought that was super interesting. And I'm honestly really excited that the organization listened to him, you know what I mean? And brought in a target that they wanted, he wanted to throw to. And we're seeing that chemistry, I mean, it might be a little bit of a narrative from the media, but maybe not, you know what I mean? Like, he's a baller, and obviously Stroud saw something in him because he's balling right now. Let's transition into somebody that has been making my eyeballs bleed watching football this season. No disrespect. I mean, obviously I'm rooting for him. My Pittsburgh Steelers have a quarterback problem, and his name is Kenneth Pickett. And he is not playing good football right now, man. You can blame Matt Canada. You can blame him a lot. I don't know how he has a job, respectfully, but Kenny Pickett also, I'm starting to get to the point where I don't know how he has a job either. It's not good. It's not good at all. They played a pretty tough Cleveland Browns defense this week, but man, it's just another abysmal performance from Kenny Pickett. 15 of 28 passing, 106 yards. Just unbelievably horrible production. Tommy DeVito now has more 2+ touchdown passing games than Kenny Pickett does. And that is embarrassing. Anthony Richardson has more passing touchdowns since October than Kenny Pickett. And Anthony Richardson has been out for like 5 weeks now. It's been a really, really, really rough year for the Pittsburgh Steelers on offense. And Troy, let's start with you. What do you think that the Steelers should do with the quarterback position? Year 2 of Kenny Pickett right now. Do you give him a year 3 with a new OC, or do you rip the Band-Aid off and draft somebody new this year?
I think the issue is that you guys are a little too good. I don't know how y'all keep winning games, but you guys might be
magic. I don't
you
know.
guys might be playing yourself out of position for one of the top QBs. So maybe you might be able to draft somebody in the second round, or whatever the case may be. But the problem is, if you keep on winning, then I think that's what it is, right? We need to see how far the Steelers go. I don't think the Steelers are going to be successful because of Kenny Pickett. They're going to have a lot of tough decisions to make during the offseason. And like you said, I just think he, just like, Tuck was saying, Tuck was saying, he's a Jag. He's definitely just a guy. I feel like he is
just a guy.
He's just a guy. And it's unfortunate, right? He's first round pick. I think he's fine, but he's not someone you need. And look, if I think that if the Steelers have an opportunity to find somebody to get good value on someone, maybe you move on. But again, your record's a little bit too good. So I think you guys might be, stuck with him at least next year.
They seem to be in that weird middle zone, right? Like the defense is good. The team surrounding Kenny Pickett, the offensive line is pretty rough, and the running back room is interesting. But outside of that, the defense is pretty good. This team on paper is not bad. You know what I mean? Like we had a good quarterback. This is a kind of a lock for the playoffs in my eyes, and we're probably still going to make it this year somehow. I don't know how, but we're probably going to, knowing Mike Tomlin. But somebody in the chat's calling for us to start Mason Rudolph. And George Reed is commenting for Josh Dobbs to Pittsburgh, and we already had as a rookie. So, it's not looking great.
Get the whole thing back.
Yeah, just rewind it like 4 years ago. Tuck, what do you think? What should the Steelers do with the quarterback situation in the short term here?
Well, I'll say this, Luke, from a fantasy perspective. I know Dez shaved your head, but if I took your advice, I remember we were in a Twitter space this summer and you were talking about drafting Kenny Pickett, and I almost did. I almost listened to you and took him. And if I did, I had to pull out my Clippers.
Hey, listen. I would have never. Let me just clarify. I would have never advised you to draft Kenny Pickett in a single quarterback league. I probably, if anything, would have recommended him as a value in a 2 QB league.
2 quarter QB league.
That makes sense.
Yeah, man. I was sitting there. I was like, Luke was talking about Kenny Pickett. I should trust my gut, man. I went with my quarterback, Dak Prescott.
I was drinking a little bit of the preseason Kenny Pickett Kool-Aid at that point in time. He was looking really sharp there.
Right.
So good, so explosive.
Everyone looks good in the preseason.
Yeah, everyone looks good, great in camp, and
I know, but I had hope for once. They actually had explosion in the offense. Pickett was looking sharp, and then out of nowhere, bro, like the entire, like all the wheels fell off immediately. Like it's just depressing.
Yeah.
It's really just depressing. Dylan in the comments on YouTube saying Pittsburgh should make a move for Kyler Murray or Justin Fields if he's available next season, but I prefer Kyler. I would love either of those guys. I would love to have Kyler Murray in Pittsburgh. That'd be so much fun. But I think they might have a difficult time knowing the Steelers organization. I feel like they're more patient than most. You know what I mean? So I feel like they're going to give Pickett another year. I just feel like it's going to happen. I feel like if anything's going to change this season, it's going to be Matt Canada getting fired and during the offseason. I don't expect him to get fired during the season. Tomlin doesn't like firing coordinators during the season. But after the season's over, he's got to go. And hopefully Pickett, takes a step forward next year. But that's what I'm thinking at the moment. But overall, this is really, really ugly in Pittsburgh right now. And the offense hurts my eyes every week. By the way, can we talk about how Jaylen Warren is outperforming Najee Harris by like miles, and they're still splitting carries? Like, why are we doing this, man? Just make him the starter.
I think sometimes it's just NFL politics, right? They went ahead and spent the high draft capital on players. They're trying to force it, right? Because I know the Cowboys do that a lot. And it's just like, man, like at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for the team. Now, here's the difference between your guys' culture and ours. You guys got Mike Tomlin. So even if you have a bad quarterback, like we always know the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be competitive. But it's like, Kenny Pickett, man, at the end of the day, just throw it to Pickens. Like, simplify it. But, I don't understand with Pickett. The production really hasn't been there. You mentioned like what he did on Sunday. I don't think he has a game over 250 throwing yards this year. Like
I
it's
don't think
been
he does
very
either.
minimal.
It's really, really
Yeah.
low.
So I
He
mean, it's
averages, he
been
hovers right around that like 170 to like 220 zone like every game.
right. Yeah. So it's like, it's kind of unexpected. I expect a little bit more, especially from the offense. But, I would think the Pittsburgh Steelers would be in the play to kind of go get you a bridge quarterback. You mentioned kind of like a Kyler Murray. Or, I'm not sure if you see my campaign on Twitter, but I'm thinking NFL teams are starting to treat quarterbacks like running backs. Like, hey, give you 2 or 3 years in youth. And if not, move on. You know what I'm saying? Don't exercise. Can he pick his 5th-year
That's the way
option
it
and just
should
get
be,
you
in my
another guy?
opinion. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think like the worst thing you can do, out to my New York Giants fans out there.
Right.
The worst thing you can do is extend Daniel Jones for 4 years. You know what I mean? Like, he's fine. He's okay. He's
not 40 million.
No,
Yeah,
he's not
no,
40 million.
no.
He
Yeah.
should not be the $40 million man. You know what I mean? Like, I
Mhm.
am not a fan of extending okay quarterbacks. And like,
Right.
I understand from like, if you're a GM, if you're the New York Giants this past year, they finally had a good. Did they make the playoffs? I actually forget.
They won a playoff game. That's what got
They
them.
won a playoff game. That's right.
With only
They had a winning
15
record.
touchdowns.
They did score touchdowns. It was amazing. But dude, like, here's the thing: it's like I understand, like, you saw the success last season. You saw Jones like playing pretty decent football with like no real targets. You go look at Darren Waller, which has been pretty bad so far. He has been able to stay healthy. And then you give Jones an extension, kind of hoping to take another step this year, maybe win like 10 games, 11 games. It's been the exact opposite. Jones gets hurt, which you can't really, help that much. But how do you justify extending a mid-ass quarterback like that? Like, Troy, like, what are your thoughts on that process? Like, if you were a GM, would you be able to bite the bullet on a contract like that, or you just let that guy walk and try to get another?
So the problem is, it's kind of the same situation you guys are dealing with, right? They were too good to get a quarterback. So it's like, do you keep Daniel Jones or who else is available, right? If you let him walk, who's going to be your QB? And that's the Giants put themselves in that position. Like, they weren't good enough to make a deep run in the playoffs, but they weren't bad enough to get a QB. So it's like they were in a limbo and they felt like, okay, we have to pay him because technically we have no other option. So they fell into that trap and maybe if we get Darren Waller, we can build upon what we did. And then they have offensive line issues. They still have no receiver. So there's definitely some reasons why it failed. Obviously, Saquon Barkley got hurt. And the problem is also like $40 million is a lot to us, but I feel like the QB market, it's continuing to rise, right? The salaries for QBs are continuing to rise. So in a couple of years, $40 million is going to be like, the men's salary. I'm exaggerating, but like,
no,
it is. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like,
an example of that, honestly, Troy, is like, like Kirk Cousins' contract, at the time, it was huge. It was like one of the biggest in the league. And now it's a total bargain for how good he is. Like, I totally understand what you're saying. Like, Derek Carr and Jimmy Garoppolo are other good examples too. Like, they all signed in free agency this year. They all got around the same amount of money, and they're all mid. Like, how I don't understand that.
Jimmy G benched. Daniel Jones not playing, like so it's just
Derek Carr struggling, and now he's hurt.
Struggling.
Yeah,
and then you go out there with Tommy DeVito and you win again.
I was shocked. I was shocked that he put up that many touchdowns. Like, that's how you know the Commanders are really bad. With DeVito's balling out.
Yeah, man. But all right, guys, let's get into Monday Night Football here. We got a great game tonight. Eagles and Chiefs Super Bowl rematch. Eagles going on the road to KC. Chiefs -2.5 favorites at home tonight. Over under this game is 45.5 points. Fellas, is Travis Kelce having a huge game tonight? Because it feels like he's going to have a huge game tonight. Taylor Swift is not going to be there.
Yeah, shake it off, right? Yeah, I think now I'm here in Kansas City, so looking out my window, it's cold, it's rainy, so it's probably going to be a nasty game. But I expect Travis Kelce to have a big game. Like, I think this is going to be Arrowhead's going to be rocking tonight. I think they're actually unveiling the banner tonight. Something they're doing something crazy for the Super Bowl. Super really? Disrespectful. Okay. As a Cowboys fan, go ahead and disrespect the Eagles, man. Do what you got to do. So I think it's going to be an electric atmosphere, and the offense starts and it ends with Travis Kelce and Pat Mahomes. And the Eagles play a lot of cover one man man defense. They play a lot of cover 3. So cover 3 is pretty much the Travis Kelce buffet. I expect Travis Kelce to have a big game because it's going to be a lot of opportunities. And the Eagles are pretty much 27th in pass defense or something like that. So
they are not having a good year in that.
Yeah, their
They're
secondary hasn't played well this year. So it's pretty much pressure or bust. So I feel like Travis Kelce is going to have a breakout game. Expected a lot of big numbers, a lot of big catches, wide open catches for Travis Kelce. So yeah, I would absolutely think that Travis Kelce is going to have a showing tonight, even without with Taylor Swift being in the building.
No Tay. Troy, what do you think? How do you think this Chiefs defense is going to look against the Philly offense tonight? Their Chiefs defense might be the most underrated unit in the league, in my opinion. Honestly, they've played a lot of really good football this year. I know they gave your Dolphins a hard time. How do you see Jalen Hurts and that offense kind of attacking this defense tonight?
I think they're just going to run the ball and run some more. That's one thing the Eagles like to do. They're just going to run the ball. And I think they're going to run until they can open up the pass, right? We know too. Then I think they're going to be hurting without Dallas Goedert. I think it's really going to be the A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith show when it comes to passing. But I think that in order to look, I feel like one thing that the Dolphins did, it was late. The Chiefs defense was able to contain the Dolphins running game until the fourth quarter. I have a feeling that the Eagles are going to have to run the ball. So I think Swift has a big game. I don't know if we see some Kenny, Gainwell, but they have a good all around defense, right? But I feel like their corners, their safeties are really good, but like they're not even going to stop AJ Brown. I just feel like, in my opinion, they're going to run the ball some more, and then they're going to pass it to their studs, and then they're going to tush push all the way. But I think that it's really tough to beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead. I have the Chiefs winning it, but it's going to be a really close game, in my opinion. And we'll have to see how Jalen Hurts is. Coming off the bye. He should be hopefully healthier. So I'm really curious to see how he looks as well.
Tuck, who you got one in this one tonight? I'm assuming you're going to say the Chiefs because you're a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, I want the Chiefs, man. Chiefs are like my country cousin, man, my Cowboys cousin. So I'm going with the Chiefs, but I think it's going to be a tough battle. I think it's going to be a game about who can control their emotions, right? So sometimes, because it happened to us versus San Francisco, we were so up for this game. We wanted to redeem ourselves for what happened in the playoffs, and we came out there and looked like a shell of ourselves. So if Philly does that, I fully expect the Chiefs to go out there and handle business, but also think about Andy Reid's record after bye weeks, right? So he typically doesn't lose after bye weeks. So it's going to be a battle, because the thing that you mentioned, Troy, with that tush push, like third downs and fourth, like it just changes the course of the game. And I hate it, but it's just like I can't stop it. So what can I do about it?
It's
so
good play. Man. It's so interesting. Like, it's really changed the way the NFL views those like 4th and inches kind of situations,
And it's just Philly. It's just Philly because we tried it and we got
everyone tried it.
I'm just like, yeah, man. So we don't have all the pieces. We don't have Jason Kelce out there. So that's the frustrating thing. It's like, okay, well, they'll do it. We'll do it right back to them. It's just like, okay, Dak, we didn't get it that time. So so that's the one of the things. But it can definitely change the course of a game, right? When you get them at 3rd and 2 and you get a stop and then you get off the field, and all of a sudden they go up 4th and 4th down and keep the chains moving. So I expect the Chiefs to win, but I think it's going to be a fun game. I wish I was out there, but too cold, too rainy for my liking, but it's going to be a fun Monday night football game. But go Chiefs.
I got the Chiefs tonight too. I think the thing that's really going to separate them tonight is the quality of these secondaries. I think the Chiefs have a much more solid defense than the Eagles do. Up front, the Eagles are obviously rock solid, great D-line. But that secondary is not the best. While the Chiefs wideouts they've kind of struggled to find like their guy,
right,
ever since they lost like Juju this past offseason, and then Tyreek Hill this offseason before that. But listen, I think this is a Rashee Rice game. I think this is going to be a Travis Kelce game. I think both those guys are going to have a good night. And then tonight, I think Patrick Mahomes is really going to shine. I think this is Mahomes' game. I think he's going to go out here, ball out, 3+ touchdowns, all that kind of good stuff. And I cooked up a little bit of a parlay for you guys tonight.
Ooh.
For everyone watching at home. This is my parlay of the night. A lot of Patrick Mahomes with the sprinkling of Travis Kelce. We got the Mahomes over 284.5 passing yards, Mahomes over 38.5 pass attempts, and Mahomes over 2.5 passing tutties. So 39 pass attempts, 285 passing yards, and 3 passing touchdowns will get that done. And then Kelce over alt 65.5 receiving yards, which is like -160 or something. Feels like a lock. I'm just figuring if Mahomes is slinging the rock around, Kelce's going to be involved out there. And really good odds on that. It's 4 legs. It's a lot, I know. But it's all pretty correlated. And it's plus 750 odds on DraftKings without a boost. So go check that out if you guys are interested. I'm rocking $25 on that bad boy tonight. Big units only over here.
Right. Big money. Where the money resides.
Money.
I do got a question for y'all. When it comes to the Eagles tight end situation, right? Dallas got us hurt. Who do you guys think steps up? Is it Albert O? Is it Grant? I can't pronounce his last name. Grant
Uh,
C something. What are your guys'
Cockatera.
thoughts about? Yeah. What are your thoughts about who's gonna step up as the tight end for the Eagles?
Yeah. So from some of my Eagles content creators, I don't think Grant Calcaterra is going to be kind of in the mix. So I think it's going to be probably O. But I don't know, man. Like it just comes to who's going to get the opportunity. But just like Luke said, I think you're going to get a lot of AJ Brown, a lot of D Smith, and I think they're going to lean on Swift a lot more, which I don't understand why they haven't been doing it. But I'm not complaining. Right? They're not giving Swift the ball as much, but I think this is going to be a run, old school ground and pound game. They're going to try to take the air out the ball, keep the ball out of Pat Mahomes' hands. So I expect to see a big game on the ground versus Philly, or for Philly versus the Chiefs versus in the air. But I think you're still going to see those big plays from AJ Brown and also from Smitty. I need just Smitty tonight because you're all I got left on my fantasy team. So like,
Hey, I actually have a big matchup real quick. Let's give a little shout out to the Personal Corner League. $25,000 on the line in this league, guys. If you guys haven't heard about this one, it's the Personal Corner league. It's called the X Games. There's 14 people in there. There's like 8 people from Personal Corner. There's a few people from Twitter mixed in, like Nolan from the Critter Network's in there. I'm in first place right now. I'm 9-1, and I lost Nick Chubb. So like I got a squad, man. I got a squad.
Yeah, squad. Yeah, man.
Who's on your squad?
Yeah, this ain't a squad, man.
Who's on your squad?
Okay, my squad, my running back situation's weak, but the people who've been carrying me are AJ Brown and TJ Hawkinson and Tank Dell and Jalen Hurts. They've been carrying me big time. It's a 14 teamer, so keep that in mind. It's a little bit more spread out, but my team is Hurts, Rashad White, who's been having a pretty good season for me, Darrell Henderson, AJ Brown. I started Deontay this week. Yikes. TJ Hawkinson, Tank Dell, and they also got Khalil Herbert, Ty Chandler, Zach Charbonnet, Jacoby Myers, and T. Higgins. So Higgins,
that's not a bad
bro,
squad.
like I'm 9-1, and Higgins has been a pretty much a bust for me this year, and I lost Nick Chubb, and I'm still finding a way to win. Most points scored in the league, and this week I'm in a huge matchup against Bryce from Personal Corner. I'm sure you guys have interacted with him a little bit out there, everyone watching, but here's the final showdown. Right now, we're both projected within 4 points of each other. I currently have 87.7. He currently has 111. I'm projected 128. He's projected 124. Tonight, I have Hurts and Brown, and he has Pacheco. So he's up like 24 on me.
Oh, you got
Pacheco,
that.
and I have Hurts and Brown. It's gonna be tight. It's gonna be tight. We'll see who wins it. He's in second place right now. I'm in first. So big matchup in the X
right.
Games.
It's just like the Eagles and Chiefs game.
Right. Coin toss.
Heavyweights.
It'll be a big one. I'm looking forward to. Hey, listen though, I have never been more nervous for a fantasy football playoffs in my life than the league where I'm in first place and there's $25,000 to grab.
Right. Yeah, I bet. Yeah. You might want.
I've never been in that situation.
I need it, bro. I'm 22. I just graduated college in May. I could really use 25.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know? Absolutely.
And listen. The thing is too is like I mentioned, man. Like I lost Nick Chubb too, which is crazy.
Right.
Like,
crazy.
I cannot even begin to tell you how sick to my stomach I was when Nick Chubb got injured because like obviously hated to see it for him, but also for me, very selfishly, $25,000 on the line. Like my best player goes down. I'm like, oh no. This is bad. I thought I was cooked. I'm not gonna lie, but he's on the way to win so far. Shout out to my team, 25K Killers. Anyways,
let's get it.
Let's pivot into some Dolphins talk, Troy. Talk a little about this game. Have a tough win against these Raiders, man.
Yo, I would say that, look, the offense wasn't as sharp, and it was a little disappointing coming off a bye. You think that you prepare for, like I said, for no disrespect, but an inferior team compared to the Dolphins. They're playing inspired, football, right? Antonio Pierce got them boys right. But so the offense really, it was self-inflicted wounds, right? So Tua with the scramble, he fumbled. Our tight end, Julian Hill, also fumbled. Dumb interception. So we basically just gave them 6 points. So, But overall, Tyreek Hill doing Tyreek Hill things. He was a little bit injured, came back, had 146 yards, 10 receptions. He's just going to do what he does. And then Jalen Waddle, he was okay. He made some catches, but nothing crazy. Devon Achane, he tweaked his knee again, the one that he injured. So it doesn't seem like it's serious. It's his day-to-day. I think they're just being extra cautious with him because he came from IR, and they're thinking long-term, right? Dolphins are thinking about playoffs. So I think they're going to be cautious with him. But Jalen Ramsey, 2 interceptions. Like that trade that trade is look, he had 3 picks in 3 games. So obviously he had 2 of them on Sunday. Just
He's such a stud,
absolutely
man.
insane.
He's
He's
such
such a
a
stud. And then like their timely interception, the game sealing one, right? Like, look, if they score, they're probably gonna go for the 2 and they could possibly win the game. He stopped it. And he had a hard matchup against Devontae Adams most of the game. He just a stud, man. Like I feel the Dolphins defense has really come into form. Hopefully the offense figures it out, but that Dolphins defense, your fantasy matchups, they don't play. Look, they just shut down Travis Kelce, even though they lost. Travis Kelce only had like 30 yards or something like that. So be careful of the Dolphins defense.
Yeah, I was actually gonna ask you, Troy. Looking at the box score, I mean, Tua had a pretty sharp game. Like what was going wrong that like really kept these points off the board? Like were they just not really converting these third downs, or like what was really holding back this offense?
Sure. So the problem is, I think one of the biggest issues that the Dolphins have had for since last year, fourth and short, like third and ones, fourth and ones, they don't run the ball. They try to get too cute with it and they try to do like bubble screens to Tyreek Hill. And they just like to pass for whatever reason. I don't know if they don't trust their offensive line. I don't know what it is, but they don't run on third down, third and short, fourth and short, and it comes to bite them. So I think
Right.
that's part of it. I just think it's just careless mistakes. Look, again, the fumbles, like Tua fumbled, Julian Hill fumbled, or Tua tries to force something. And I think Tua always he had an amazing season. I'm a huge Tua fan, guys, jersey hanging up, but he makes one bad decision, at least one bad decision a game. I don't know what it is. I think he has 8 turnovers, but he has 20 touchdowns, so I'll take it.
That
But it's just like
balances out a little bit.
yeah, he needs to clean it up a little bit. But overall, like his stat line looks fine. I don't think it tells the whole story. He could play better, but once the Dolphins offense plays its best game and the Dolphins plays its best game, they're one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree with you. That offense is high powered and the defense is starting to click. Speaking of defenses clicking, J Tuck, your Cowboys defense looked phenomenal this past week. Not the best performance for the Cowboys this week, but they still did pretty well. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, well, salute to 105 through the fan, the local radio station in Dallas, for ticking off Micah Parsons and saying he was slowing down because he took it personal.
Yeah,
Yeah. So Micah Parsons was on go, man. But, I think it's just a testament to our overall Dallas Cowboys defense. I mean, what Deron Bland is doing is spectacular. Like, I don't think people really understand who this kid is because he kind of came out of nowhere. Like, he wasn't a starter last year. Like, we had 2 injuries happen in order for Deron Bland to actually get on the field. And the moment
right.
that he stepped on the field, he made things happen. And from him to have to transition from being our nickel inside guy to Trayvon going down and having to step outside and having these pick sixes, something that hasn't been done in 30 years of like 30 years. Like the last time someone has done this when he ties this record, like it's phenomenal. So you're seeing everything really come together with this Cowboys defense. In every game, it's someone else stepping up, a guy that doesn't get a lot of recognition, but I was extremely high on in the draft last year was Marquise Bell out of FAMU, who was an undrafted free agent guy, hybrid safety, but all of a sudden he gets moved over to linebacker after DeMarvin Overshown goes down, and he's playing lights out, kind of filling that void. DeMarcus Lawrence, we all know who DeMarcus Lawrence is. Phenomenal job run stuffing. So we have our secondary with our safety group and Donovan Wilson. We even have a younger guy in Wanye Thomas. So everyone's just starting to gravitate and just do their job, which is something that we've been asking for the Cowboys defensive standpoint. And I know a lot of people say, well, Dak didn't play well. Dak did what he had to do to get the win. Like Dak doesn't have to throw for 400 yards every game and put it like, that's what I liked about yesterday's game. Like, hey, man, we can still just win games, go out there, handle business, stay healthy. You don't have to put on fireworks every game. And no quarterback in the NFL does that. So I understand the double standard when it comes to Dak Prescott, but he's playing his best football than we've seen, pretty much since the post injury, which is 2021, but he's playing a lot better, a lot cleaner. And the thing that I love the most about this Cowboys offense and Mike McCarthy is first few weeks, it was very lethargic. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't really kind of work. It's kind of boring and bland, not a lot of emotions. We got our mouth punched in by the 49ers. And Mike McCarthy said, you know what I'm trying to do, y'all, is not working. Dak, here's the keys. You go out there and drive. And this Cowboys offense is one of the tops in the NFL. So I'm excited, and all Cowboys fans should be excited about what they're seeing on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I love what you just said right there. Well, I would love to hear from you and what you're seeing from this run game with Pollard. It's been a tough go with really getting him going this year as the lead back. The production's been okay on the ground. Those rushing touchdowns have not been there at all this season.
Right.
Finally got in the end zone this week. 80 total yards on 16 touches, Overall, really solid game from Pollard. I mean, not the best opponent, like you mentioned, inferior opponent, pretty clearly,
Mhm.
right? But do you think this is some positive signs of life for the rest of the season from this run game and getting him involved, moving forward?
Yeah, I feel like the entire fantasy football community, self included, was like pushing Tony Pollard across the goal line. Like, get in there. Like, I thought he was going to be short, or like, get in the end zone, bro. I need the points. But, when it comes to Tony Pollard, he just has never been the bell cow back. You go back to when he was at Memphis, he never did. He's always had Ezekiel Elliott. And so they tried to make that transition, but it's different. Like, it's different where you're in for a lot of the pass pro. You're doing a lot of chip blocking. You're doing, it's like you're doing some of that dirty, grimy work. And I feel like the Cowboys, they really need to figure out a way to get back to the 1-2 punch. And a guy, Enrico Dowdle, who's a guy who's an undrafted guy, but he just hasn't gotten his opportunity. When you watch Rico run, you see that burst, you see that power. Like, he runs like he knows he's only going to get 4 carries. Like, Rico runs like, like, if I ain't going to get the ball no more, he runs like that. So I would like to see them kind of get back to that 1-2 punch. But when it comes to the Cowboys running game, y'all, I'm starting to think Mike McCarthy wants us to be a passing team, because there's a lot of situations, right, when it's like 4th and 1, he's going to empty formation. So it's like maybe this is what Mike McCarthy is doing. He's saying, you know what, if I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go out with Dak Prescott. But as we get to the thicker things in December, we're playing Philly and we're playing your Dolphins and the Bills and those types of teams. We are going to need a run game, and especially in the red zone. So I expect them to kind of get Tony Pollard involved just a little bit more. We're starting to see more run zone schemes versus gap schemes, so get him to stretch out a little bit more so he can use his vision, his burst. So hopefully they'll utilize TP a lot more, but he's definitely not the TP that we saw last year from a production value standpoint.
Yeah. So what you just mentioned right there, I think is a great point of them not really having, that 1-2 punch with somebody else. Like Doddle's a guy. Deuce Vaughn hasn't really done much of anything.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they need to bring somebody else in to complement him to really get the most out of Pollard?
Well, me and Des was trying. I was trying to bring Zeke back. Like, for the trade deadline, I was just hoping to bring Zeke back, but I don't think they are, right? Because they had was Ronald Jones in preseason. They let him go, right? So I think they feel like they have the guy Enrico, and they also have Hunter Lubke, who was a fullback, but also he plays a little bit of running back as well. But so I feel like they have a power guy, but they're not using any of them. Like, even the red zone, like I said, when we're trying to do the tush push. And if you watch the game yesterday, we had Rico doing the wildcat and all, fake reverse the Dak. And so, like, when are we going to have that power back to line up and get those grimy, dirty extra yards? I feel like we have the tools in house. We're just not using them. So I don't know. It's
Right.
week 12, Cowboys Nation. I've been trying, man, to get this power run game going. They talked about it all summer, but thus far, we just haven't seen it. So hopefully they'll get things involved.
I think we got Dez coming in here. He's loading up, it looks like.
Can you guys hear me?
I can.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my
Sir.
trying to get my screen to show.
Hey, listen,
Here
for
we
now,
go.
your voice adds regardless.
Cool, cool.
he heard that Cowboys talk. He disappeared, man.
Bro, you like summoned him. You summoned him into the stream.
That's how it works. Once like it's like boom, I'm there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like magic. So, Dez, I mean, what are your thoughts on this Cowboys game from yesterday, man?
I mean, exactly what I expected. I didn't even make a bet. I didn't even put a bet on the Cowboys because I knew the guys was going to go out there and take care of business. And, that was one of those situations where you don't want to play over your food. And they went out there and did exactly what they needed to do. So, I expected nothing less from those guys.
Yeah, I mean, they had a great performance. Tuck was talking about them. The defense really came to life. Parsons, Bland's great performances there. Bland, tying the record with that pick six, 2.5 sacks from Micah. I mean, just great game overall for them, man. So, shout out to the Cowboys, I guess. I mean, anything else you want to add on that game, Dez?
Oh, no, I think my guys got it done. Looking forward to the next game. I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving. I'm ready for those guys to put on the show, and you know the game I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for these guys to go out here and put that smack down on the Eagles.
Absolutely. Hey, speaking of the Eagles, Des, but you missed it a little bit earlier, but Monday Night Football preview, we were talking about this game tonight. What are you looking into about this game tonight? Eagles going on the road, Chiefs favorite at home. Who you got and why? Who's having a big game tonight? Talk to me. Des, can't hear you if you're talking.
He don't want to talk to you.
He ain't got it, man. He said Eagles, I'm out. He said
Yeah,
Eagles.
exactly. The Eagles game, and I can't talk to you about the Eagles.
Cowboys, and then he disappeared again. Like he
Yeah.
spawned in, and now he left. He's gone.
Yeah, he's out, man. I feel you, Dez.
He'll be back. All right, let's transition in the meantime, though. Whenever he comes back, we can start talking about this different subject here. Last one on the show doc here for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. But the fantasy football season is winding down. We're getting closer and closer to the playoffs. Those trade deadlines are probably creeping up on you in your fantasy leagues. Make sure to check those, by the way. Sometimes they don't pop up. Leaper pops it up. ESPN does not. They're sneaky. They don't tell you. And so all of a sudden your trades are locked. J Tuck might be checking.
Yeah, hold on. Let me. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, you gotta check. You gotta check. It's important. It's important. But anyways, it's time for fantasy league winner season, man. Everyone always talks about this back in August. Oh, this guy could be a league winner. This guy could be a league winner. This is where you actually figure out who it is, right? This is when we're getting to the playoffs. We're getting to those, those crucial games against your best friends where you need to win or else you'll never talk to them again. Like, this is the time you need these guys. So, like, Troy, who is your pick for a fantasy football league winner this season? Talk to me.
Sure. Look, we talked about him a little bit earlier, but it's Jaylen Warren, y'all. He's the running back. It feels a lot like the Zeke Tony Pollard situation, right? We're seeing that happening with the Steelers. They named Jaylen Warren as the RB1. He's had 2 games with over 100 yards, 2 games with back-to-back touchdowns. He just looks like the more explosive guy he's been in. I feel like the writing's been on the wall. Najee, he's more of a power back, but he just looks slow. I feel like he's better for grinding out yards. But one of my friends, shout out to my friend LQ, he always says that Najee looks like he's running in wet jeans. So,
he is running in wet jeans.
Yeah.
And
look, and no disrespect to Najee, but he just obviously he does not have the burst that Jaylen Warren does. And I feel like he's really the only positive thing right now of that offense. So look, you still got George Pickens, you got Deontay Johnson, talented, but Kenny Pickett's not getting the ball for whatever reason. So I think that Jaylen Warren is somebody who's going to win leagues again, because you can see he took a 74 yard touchdown to the house. He has that ability. So to me, he's going to be a league winner.
I love that pick. We were talking about earlier. You know what I mean? Like, I can't understand why they haven't given him a clear number of touches more than Najee per game, right? Like, it's been like, I don't know, like 15 and 15 or 13 and 9 or stuff like that. I want Jaylen Warren to have like 5 more games. What's up, Des?
What's up? Can you guys see me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we good.
We're good. We're locked in. Welcome back. Hey, we were talking about your boy Jaylen Warren.
Oh yeah.
And how he should clearly be the starter over Najee.
Oh, absolutely. Nothing towards Najee, but if the ideal for the Pittsburgh Steelers is to establish our identity, I think Jaylen Warren is the guy to do that with. You got a lot of great supporting cast and George Pickens and those guys. It's like I feel like you got to establish that run game the way you want to establish the run game to get the rest of these guys involved. That's what the Pittsburgh Steelers is missing, is a true identity, and I think you can do that if Jaylen Warren is your true bell cow.
And as to circle back to something we were talking about earlier, to you know what I mean, with these Pittsburgh Steelers and this offense, Pickett only had 106 passing yards on Sunday. He hasn't had a game with over 2 passing touchdowns more than once in his career. Wow. Tommy DeVito from the Giants, that rookie, now has more than he does. Anthony Richardson has more passing touchdowns than him since October, and he's been on IR for like 8 weeks. Like, if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, Dez, are you rolling Pickett out there for another season next year, or are you moving on?
I'm gonna be honest. If I'm Pittsburgh, I would assume that they don't like what they see. I will be testing, the waters in the draft and free agency, to find a guy, or at least put some fire underneath him, something,
right?
Because there's nobody else over there who can compete with him, for that job. I don't believe they believe in Mason Rudolph. That's my guy. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. I think it's too much talent over there not to hyper focus on that quarterback position, because if you ask me, when I'm looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's what's missing. They need somebody to be able to take command of that offense and utilize those weapons the way that they should. They're too talented not to be in a position to be competing for the AFC.
I mean, like you mentioned, Pat Fryermuth's been injured for most of this season. He's a very valuable target on this offense. Back for the first time this week, played a lot of snaps, only caught 1 pass. Deontay Johnson only caught 1 pass. Like, what are we doing here, man? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I just don't understand where this ball's going. if you look at his passing charts too, like a lot of it, he completed 15 passes. I would bet at least 8 of them were behind the line of scrimmage. You know what I mean? Like they're doing a lot of screen passes, a lot of dump offs, a lot of dink and dunk stuff down the field. It just doesn't make sense, honestly. Like they just need to change something in this offense. Again, maybe there's a lot of those screen passes and stuff is, kind of going hand in hand with Canada maybe being a bad offensive coordinator, but also knowing we're kind of limited downfield. This guy can't throw it deep, or he doesn't really have it. So like we got to change some things to make sure things are working on this offense, but it's just not clicking.
Hey, can you guys still see me?
Nah, we can't see you.
While your mic's on.
Right. I don't know what's going on. Hold on, guys. Hold on.
Keep talking, man. You're good.
You're good.
Yeah, but nah, it's better. I feel like I can communicate a lot better, when my face is on the screen.
Right.
No, the facial expressions. I feel you.
Because I need you guys to know I mean it. Okay?
See, look in your eyes. You know what I'm saying?
Look in
I'm
my
the same
eyes.
way. I feel that. I'm the same way.
Like, bro, like I am getting very aggravated. Hold on.
Whatever button you hit turned it off. You was good, and then
right. All I did, I'm telling you, bro, all I did was just tap it.
Oh, Luke, maybe we could try to ask him about the Eagles or Chiefs again. He might log off, but we can ask him about
log back off, man.
We were talking about this game earlier. We said the word Eagles and then you disappeared. Like, I think it might be built into your DNA.
It got to be built in the DNA. It's just something subconscious about whatever it is I got going on. When you guys mention the Eagles, I just disappear out of the conversation. If we're talking about the Cowboys, I'll reappear.
There you go.
It's just a natural thing. My brain is, has nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Hey, but anyways, about this game tonight, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, Eagles and Chiefs. Who you got and why?
I'm gonna be honest. I got to go with the Chiefs. The reason is why I'm going. This is why I'm going with the Chiefs. It doesn't have anything to do. Hold on. Please let me get out and jump back in because you need.
Yeah, you see your face for this one. Yeah, you see your face.
I gotta hear this.
All them Eagles fans need to see your look in your eyes when you say.
I mean, we all agree this time, though.
Yeah, we all do agree. That's kind of crazy though. I feel like we're kind of doing a thing like they do on like Sunday Night Football though, where like they all pick.
Everyone picks, yes. So they're gonna clip this show, and all these Eagles fans like, see, Jay Tucker, like whatever, man. Like,
I wouldn't be surprised. Look, no one's gonna be shocked at the Eagles.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
No one's gonna, because the thing, at least the Eagles have a better overall offense. I feel like their defensive line, they have a way better offense in terms of pieces than what Kansas City has, but beating Kansas City in Arrowhead after a bye is a very tough order.
There he is.
Here we go.
There he is back.
There we go.
Yeah. All right, now tell me why the Chiefs are going to beat the Eagles.
All right, so the Chiefs is going to beat the Eagles first and foremost because they don't have Dallas Goedert. It's Dallas Goedert, right? That's how you pronounce it.
Yep.
Right.
They don't have him. I think he's a big piece into what the Eagles do. If he's getting targets or not, his presence is felt when he's on the football field. You can't replace him. And no disrespect to Jalen Hurts because I love everything he's done since he's stepped into the National Football League. He's just not Patrick Mahomes. And, yeah, we know that Mahomes, he don't have those big playmaking ability guys on the outside, but I feel like them guys do enough to get the job done. I think when we look at the offense, I'm just comparing the offense. I just think, the Chiefs, they so well groomed. Not saying the Eagles are not. They like a couple of notches, below, the Chiefs. Whenever we talking about the offense, I think that's gonna play its part. I think they're more stronger there, and I just think that the way that the Chiefs play, the way that the Chiefs defense play, it thrives off the offense, and I just think as a collective, they're just more of a better team than the Philadelphia Eagles. And that's just my opinion. I know it's more depth into that, but I just think that the Chiefs gonna, I think they got in the bag.
Hey, who's having a big game tonight, Des? Kelsey having a big one? Mahomes having a big one?
MVS. I think MVS. I think MVS and Pacheco. I think those two guys gonna have a big game. I think they're gonna play their part into getting the job done. I'm gonna say MVS 2 touchdowns.
Ooh.
2 tutties.
Okay.
Ooh.
The wizard.
You're gonna make somebody a rich man if that bet pays off.
Hey, listen, I might have to tell you on that bet just in case. Like, you're a psyche sometimes with these predictions, bro. You know this.
I mean,
hey, I got a parlay for tonight, Des. I want to hear what you think about it.
Talk
I got
to me.
Mahomes. Three things for Mahomes and one for Kelsey. We got Mahomes over 284 passing yards. Mahomes
helps my
over
fantasy.
38 passing attempts. Mahomes over 2.5 passing touchdowns, so 3 passing touchdowns. Kelsey over 65.5 receiving yards and is plus 750 odds.
The only thing I say this, the only thing I don't, well, you know what? Just the Kelsey. That's the only thing that bothers me.
You don't think Kelsey's getting 65 tonight? He had such a bad game 2 weeks in a row off the bye. I think they're going to feed him.
I'm going to be honest. I think they're going to try, but it's going to be hard. Like, we're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles defense. It's one thing I won't take away from them. The guy's got a phenomenal defense, and I'd be damned if the Eagles would allow Kelsey just to come in and just dominate them the whole time without making adjustments. It just doesn't make sense. You know, that's why I was saying like MVS and Pacheco, those are the guys who are really going to, you know, even Jet McKinnon, those guys are really going to come in and play a big factor tonight. And I feel like that's the only way that you can beat this Philadelphia Eagles team. Like, yeah, you just can't pick on them. You're going to have to really, you know, pull your shit out the toolbox to, you know, to make something happen. And I feel like the Eagles have enough firepower to do that, and they got the right coach to do that. So I think we won't see that Kelsey tonight.
And the thing I will say, Des, and the reason I went with all this Mahomes stuff and Kelsey is because the Eagles defense, the secondary has been pretty weak for them this year. Their D-line and those linebackers are real solid, but against tight ends and against wideouts, like, they're not great. They're bottom 5 against yards allowed against wideouts this year. So, like, these wideouts can make some plays.
Well, I'm glad you just brought that up. I think that feeds more into what I was saying. Like, think about it. Like, if those guys are weak, I think Darius Slay will spend some time on Travis Kelsey, and that's gonna. You get what I'm saying? I'm assuming. I don't have any. That's just an assumption. I think he's gonna spend some time there, and that's why I think those outside corners are gonna get tore up. You know, just because, you know, that's taken away from Slay, if that makes sense, and there's gonna leave room for those other guys to really make plays. I actually think Kadarius is gonna play good tonight.
Okay, I like that. Hey, listen, his over/under in receiving yards, I almost hit it earlier. It's only like 9 yards.
For Kadarius Toney?
Tony, yeah, only like 9 yards.
Bro, if I'm you got to take that, bro. Take that. I'm serious.
I'm about to take that after this.
Right.
After this stream.
Bro, I didn't know that was real.
I don't understand it. Yeah, I don't really understand it. I don't know if he's like not healthy or something, but I feel like that feels like a gimme for Tony in a matchup like this against these DBs who haven't been playing great. And we were talking about fantasy league winners earlier, man. These guys who are going to get red hot to finish the season. Troy went with Jalen Warren. I'm going to go with my guy real quick, and you go up next here. My guy is Zach Charbonnet from Seattle, rookie running back out of UCLA. Kenneth Walker's snap share has been going down every week, and Charbonnet is only going up, getting more and more carries, more and more touches. And guess who has him in our fantasy league, Des?
Who? You got him, huh?
I got him.
I knew it.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, but listen, I think Charbonnet is really going to win some fantasy championships this year and hopefully win me $25,000. So that's who I got. Des, who you got? Who's going to win people some fantasy leagues this year?
Ah, man. And guess what? I got him. The guy that I'm talking about.
Who you got?
I told Kevin's somewhere behind the scenes. I know he see what's going on. I'm switching my pick, Kevin. I'm going to go with Odell Beckham.
Ooh.
Mark Andrews is out. I got Odell.
That's a good one. That's a good
You
one.
get what I'm saying, Troy? You like that, huh?
Right.
You like that, Tuck?
Yeah, I like it with Odell because Odell's starting to heat up a little bit.
You get what I'm saying? They started to beat him a little bit more. Hey, and you see what he's doing. There's been several times that he almost took slants to the crib. He took one to the crib.
Right.
But it's been several other times where, you know, he's damn near taking them to the crib. You know, so I'm looking forward to see Odell. It's like me and I got this little Scorpio connection. So it's almost like I know how he feels, you know, when the opportunities are given. I can only imagine what's going to happen moving forward with the Baltimore Ravens. I hate that Mark Andrews went out, but that's going to open up the door for Odell. So I'm glad.
And what about Isaiah Likely, Des?
Oh, and I like Isaiah Likely too. I have both of those guys, by the way.
Of course you do. Hey, listen. Hey, Dez is making a playoff run, a deep playoff run.
What place are you in, Dez? Because Luke was over here bragging about being in first, you know.
Let me be honest with you. I'm not in a great place, but I'm doing better, you know, than a lot of guys expect.
Yeah, okay.
He's in 12. Hey, listen, he's 4-6 right now. He's in 12th. He wasn't dead last. He's won 3 of his last
there you go.
5 games or something like that. He's on a hot streak. He's getting it together here. And
he's
had some pretty bad injuries too. Like he lost Mike Williams pretty early on in the season, and He's figuring it out. He's figuring it out. This is his first year playing fantasy, y'all. He had a rough draft. He's figuring it out from here.
Well, but check this out. I guarantee you, I'm gonna end strong. I can guarantee you that.
That's all that matters.
Listen, I'm excited to see you draft next year. I feel like next year you're gonna draft a really good team.
Oh, absolutely, because it's I understand what's happening now.
Yeah,
you know, and that's all I needed to see. So Luke, just know next year for the 25K, just forget about it, buddy.
Hey, listen,
forget about it.
About our chances, but just saying.
Yeah.
Hey, Kev,
I'm gonna be so confident next year. I might just go ahead and drop 50K on it.
Hey, listen.
You gotta invite me and Jake Tuck next year.
Hey, I'm already.
You know what I might do?
25, Des.
Say it one more time, Luke.
I'm already sweating over this 25, man. 50.
Because Nolan, right? Nolan fucking got a nice team as well.
Nolan has a nice team. Hey, I'm playing Bryce this week, and he's in second place. I'm in first. Bro, this game all comes down tonight. He has Pacheco. I have Hurts and Brown. It's all going to come down to it. We're projected like 50-50.
Damn.
Sleeper says I have a 56% chance to win. Bryce has a 44% chance to win. It's going to be close. If Hurts and Brown have a good game, I win. We'll see. Battle for first place.
Well, guess what? I don't think those guys going to have a good game, brother.
Okay. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm not even kidding. Unbiased from my fantasy team perspective, I think they might have a bad game too because the Chiefs defense is legit, and you know that.
Right. I think Devontae Smith have a good game tonight.
Okay. I'm with that.
And Swift. I think those two guys. Yep. Yeah, it's gonna be those two guys who are gonna have a great game tonight.
Yeah, like I said, it's cold. It's cold and rainy here in Kansas City, so it's going to be probably a ground and pound ugly game.
Yeah, talk to a local Kansas City weatherman.
You got the weatherman. Okay. Got the inside bets. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's cold outside.
Hey, Kev saying in the producers chat here, Des, he's saying it's time for the dogs to show up playoff football. OBJ might get that.
I'm telling you, he's gonna get that. He's going to. You know, I was talking about, you know, I don't care about you guys' fantasy, but let me tell you something. You better care about mine. You better care about mine because I got you. Like I didn't trade for you. I drafted you.
Yep,
right.
You did.
Right.
You did. And I might add, you did reach on him too, because of course you did.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Say that one more time, Luke.
I said you reached on him.
Oh yeah. I reached on him. You know, and I a little bias over that. You know, a little bias.
Yeah,
you know, but hey,
I'm just giving you a hard time. J Tuck, who you got for your fantasy league winner this year, man? Who's gonna bring you home a trophy?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with my Cowboys, and I'm gonna go with Brandon Cooks. I feel like Brandon Cooks is a guy who's been on the fringe, and we've been seeing it. We saw a glimpse of it versus New York, right? But you know, you see what CeeDee Lamb has been doing. I feel like as we get to December, he's gonna get a lot of focus. So I feel like Brandon Cooks is gonna have to win his matchups, and we're seeing the passing game with Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott. It's going to involve Brandon Cooks. So I'm thinking for Brandon Cooks to start to get the things rolling a little bit. So he's a guy who I have on my fantasy team. So I'm going with the Archer. I expect big things for him late in the season, kind of push your fantasy team over the edge. Hopefully, man.
Like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
He's been heating up.
Yeah.
A guy I actually have my eye on too, who I feel like he's been so close to fantasy greatness all year, is Ferguson.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So close. Like we've been talking about.
Both
it
tight
a long
ends.
time ago. Those tight ends. Yeah, the tight ends, man. Like they should trade for Kyle Pitts still, right there.
Dak loves targeting his tight ends, man.
Bro, I'll tell you this. If they still trade for Kyle Pitts, you just book the damn ticket, man.
Yeah, man.
Book the ticket.
Yeah, I would love it. I was with you, Dez, on Kyle Pitts, man. I love Kyle Pitts in the draft. You know, man, it would be nice. But Ferguson's been showing out. I think the thing with Ferguson is that, you know, we saw the touchdown on Sunday, yesterday, pretty much. It was Luke Schoonmaker, right? So it's like Dak likes to attack the seams. And sometimes you think it's Ferg, but then it's Schoon kind of getting those plays. But then you also have Peyton Hendershot coming back off his ankle injury. So I want to see how he's going to fit in that rotation. But yeah, Jake Ferguson's definitely going to be one of those guys. Like he's going to be that guy in Dallas for a long time.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he definitely has a lot of potential. Hey, by the way, for the Tony, I got a friend from back at home who's listening to the show, and he said that Tony's over is 7.5 yards at plus 108 odds on ESPN Bet, which is a W.
Shut up, bro. I'm so if I put 1,000 on that, what would that be?
I don't know. I gotta do the math. Let me look.
I'm really gonna put $1,000 on that. Like that's crazy. That's like the ultimate disrespect.
I'm about to put like $5 on it.
bro, he's gonna catch a big catch in the game. Watch, and that's all you need.
Yep, it's only 7 yards. Like
right,
easy.
Just one completion. Right.
I will say though, like I was looking at his game log, like Tony, he's been hitting it. Like he's only been catching like he's only caught one pass in the last 3 games. Like each game, one pass, one pass, one pass. But 13 yards, 4 yards, 18 yards, 9 yards, 26 yards. Like
It just seems like a gimme. It just seems like a gimme.
Right.
He's
Like,
hit
you
that
got
over in like
to,
7 of the
bro.
last 8 games. Like that seems like a gimme bet, like you guys are saying. Like easy money.
So this will be the parlay, right? I'll throw 1,000 on it, right? I'll throw 1,000 just because I know he's gonna hit that, and
Okay.
then I might go to be super safe. Isaiah Pacheco for a touchdown. I'll pick him or McKinnon, and I'll go with Devontae. No. I'll go with Jalen Smith for a touch. I mean Jalen Hurts for a touchdown.
Yeah, Des, you can get the over on Tony receptions at the receiving yards. If he gets 6 receiving yards at -120, 7 receiving yards at 105. Like easy odds here with these receiving yard lines. Yeah, set over 7.5 receiving yards at 108 odds. What is that if I put 1,000 on it? That's $1,000 to win 2,080. So $1,000 in, 2,080 out. So you would win $1,080.
Bro, that's like that is a legit pick, bro.
Right.
Like that's a legit pick.
Let's Vegas know something. I've been, you know what I'm saying? Let's Vegas know something because that's drastically low. Like that's one first down catch.
$50 on it.
I mean, yeah, put $50 on it. You just hit that, bro. You about to hit that easy.
Yep, easy money. And listen, I actually am probably surprised how low that line.
Yeah,
is. He's only been catching like a pass a game, but like even when he's been doing that, he's been hitting the over. Like I don't understand why it's so low.
Right.
Doesn't really make sense, but whatever. Hey, Des, real quick before we wrap up here, let's talk about that Thanksgiving tailgate, man. Plug the tailgate.
Let's talk about it. Oh man,
tailgate, man.
You know, for all the Dallas viewers, you know, who watching, who tapped in with us, show up this Thursday. There's nobody do a tailgate better than the Personal Corner crew. You know, that the High Point team. Nobody's out there doing what we're doing. You know, I think it's pretty dope. The energy is there. You know, and we have a lot of fun. You know, we was working on something earlier. Now we adding prizes to the beer pong. We adding prizes, $500 prizes. You know, the tailgate is gonna get better each and every week. You know, and I'm just excited. You know I'd be a little modest about it, but I really am excited. Like, you know, if the viewers pull up, I'm telling you, we do. Y'all know how it is in Texas. We do it big in Texas.
Right.
Listen, Tuck pulled up last week.
Oh man. Hey, it was
I never meant to just ask you, Tuck. How was it, bro?
Bro, I had a blast, man. And y'all know me. I'm at every Dallas Cowboys game, and I've been to a lot of tailgates. I had the most fun I ever had at a tailgate. And this is before Dez even got there. You know what I'm saying? Salute to my guy, Kevin. Dez is lucky the Madden didn't get set up because we put some work out there. But it's like I had the most fun I ever had at a tailgate. It's to the point where they had to tell me, like, all right, Tuck, it's almost game time. You got to get ready. But it's just like the atmosphere, the fun, the music, you know, Bebe was out there doing his thing, man. Like there was a musical chairs game they had versus some Cowboys fans and some Giants fans, and it was like the most intense music. Like we were just having a blast, man. It was just the love, the vibe, the food, the drinks, like everything was good, man. So not even if you're a Cowboys fan, even if you're a Commanders fan, man, pull up to the tailgate. It's a blast. It's the place to be, man. And I can't wait to get back out there Thursday, but also that December 10th game is gonna be on, you know what I'm saying, versus Philly.
It's gonna be crazy.
Gonna be crazy, man.
We got some notes here from Kevin in the chat saying we got beer pong, Madden, and cornhole prizes. And this week we got exclusive merch giveaways on Dez's lives on social. That is gonna be dope. Dez, you want to talk about that? Also, your cam's gone, by the way. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, my camera is gone, and I'm bothered about it. I don't know what's going on, brother.
It's all good.
Yeah, but we do. We got more exclusive giveaways, you know, for the viewers and everybody that's listening in. We're gonna have more information that we're gonna be dropping tomorrow. You know, I'm not gonna spoil anything right now, but we got a lot of cool stuff going on. I'm giving away some exclusive items. And on top of that, I will say this. I hate you guys getting my expression. You know, our quarterback. He got some exclusive things he want to add to the pot too, Mr. Dak Prescott. Like we got some guys who are adding to the pot. You know, like I said, we do it big in Dallas. So, you know, come out, show up. You'll see for yourself. You know, we do it big, baby. Let's go.
It's fun, bro. I'm telling y'all, don't miss it. Don't miss it.
Hey, listen, dude, Tuck had the time of his life at this game. Not even about the tailgate, bro. Like this game, I saw he was lit. He had a hat on. He was on the
Hey,
jumbotron. Like
man,
he
yeah,
had
I
the
was.
time of his life.
I do it big out there in Dallas, man. I was representing, man. So I felt good by the time I got to the game, and I was already on go mode, man. But like I said, it was fun, and we're tossing the football around, playing cornhole, music. The whole vibe was just lovely, man. The moment I walked in the building and to meet the personal corner High Point family, met Kevin, and met Steady, like it was just all love, man. So every Cowboys fan, you got to be there 1010 North Collins because there's no better place to be. You know what I'm saying? I'm part of different tailgates. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just gonna keep it a buck. We got to keep it real. Like, they're like Tuck. My mom was texting me like, Tuck, are you coming to the game? I was like, what time is it? Like, I said, we'd be all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me a few more minutes. I'll be there, man. So
That big
just have a
Dallas
good time.
tailgate experience, man. Hey, listen, the food of those two are crazy.
Yeah.
Really good food.
Yeah.
Got some good chefs cooking up stuff down there. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Pull up to the tailgate, man. Hey, Des, you gonna be doing Thanksgiving food for the tailgate this week?
Oh yeah, we're doing all that, man. Shout out to Chef P. Shout out to Chef P. Chef P is a monster. Shout out to Ella B's, man. That's his restaurant. It's dope. I'm surprised it's not bigger than what it is. If you're in Dallas, you're in that Arlington area, make sure y'all go stop by Chef P restaurant. I'm telling you guys, it's phenomenal. He cooked great food. Like, oh my gosh, like I'm talking about, I don't even eat sweet potatoes. Like I hate sweet potatoes, but his sweet potatoes, I call them candy coated because they are. And I'm telling you, amazing. And I'm like, bro, oh my gosh, we need Chef P. I was telling Kevin, like, we need Chef P. And one thing about Kevin get the job done.
Right.
Kevin is the man. For the viewers, I know you guys can't see Kevin right now, but I promise y'all, man, Kevin is the man with the damn plan. He make things go, for everyone. So shout out to you, Kevin. And,
shout out to Kevin. He does make things go. He's the best, man. I work with him all the time.
Yeah.
He is great. He's really helping things grow over here at Personal Corner and High Point. But yeah, man, I mean, that's been a great show. I know we got to wrap up here in a second. Des, anything you want to say before we close out, man?
Man, shit, Troy, man, Tuck, Luke, all of the viewers, man, I appreciate you guys. And I'm telling y'all, this shit is only going to get bigger. It's only going to get better. It's only going to get greater, because the intent is there. It's pure. You get what I'm saying? And I'm just so excited about, what's happening and what's going on. I can feel that energy. We got more partners, coming along. Can't really speak too much about it, but people seeing us. They seeing us. They seeing what we're doing. We deserve it, and we're gonna continue to keep growing. So thank you guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Good.
Thank you, man. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into the first episode of the High Point Fantasy Show. We'll be back here, same time, same place, next Monday night, talking football. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Pull up to the tailgate. Have a good night, everybody. Enjoy the game, and hopefully the Chiefs beat the Eagles.
Yeah, facts.